Dan Illman, Matt Bernie are taking a look at race number 8 at Sunland Park on Sunday afternoon. It's the $75,000 Island Fashion Stakes for 3-year-old fillies, and you can bet the race and the card with a DRF Bets account. Sign up at bets.drf.com and double your action. Let's meet the field of 3-year-old fillies. They're going a 2-turn mile. Again, $75,000 is the purse. Trainer Steve Asmussen has 2 in here, the 5 Back Flash, the 6 Blessings First. Let's talk about Blessings First. 4-1 on the morning line, a horse going turf to dirt, but a half-sister to Golden Ticket, who dead heated for the win in the prestigious Travers several years back. So no surprise that Blessings First can handle this distance. She's just a little bit slow on paper, but something tells me she has some upside.
I was going to say, the tough thing is with a horse like this, you're right, she is a little bit slow at the moment, but she's only started twice. She started on 2 different surfaces at 2 different racetracks, and she hasn't run poorly in either of them, a win and a second-place finish. In a race like this, I kind of feel like you want to take the upside horses, the ones that, they might be a little bit slow right now compared to some of the other horses that are more proven, whether it is a Parade of Roses, whether it is a KP Slickum. I think you want to take a look at this race and say, give me a horse that can move forward as opposed to the horses that I've seen 3, 4, 5 times, and maybe I'm not thrilled with what they've done.
And while Blessings First did win on dirt at Remington Park as a 2-year-old, I thought that field was pretty weak, and she's going to have to step it up a little bit against this caliber of competition. The filly that beat her last time out on the turf is Back Flash, your 8-5 morning line favorite for Asmussen. And it's interesting that this horse has yet to win on dirt. She's tried it twice. She's been off the board both times, but both of her best buyer speed figures have come on the surface. Here's a Steve Asmussen formulator fact. Over the past 3 years, with last out winning 3-year-olds moving from turf to dirt, 21% winners, but 11 of 14 on the board, and a $2.62 ROI. At a short price, are you convinced that this is the right surface?
I don't. Well, let me put it this way. I think there's a real chance that the dirt is actually better for her. I'm not totally convinced how good she actually is. Now, again, she's 1, 2 of 5 lifetime. Both of those came on the grass, and you brought up the figs, the actual faster ones coming on the main track. It's another instance where I look at her and I go through 5 lifetime starts. I haven't been blown away by anything you've done, and let's just call a spade a spade. 5 lifetime starts, she's never byred better than 61. I know this is second start off the bench. This is a decent move for Asmussen. I don't need her at 8-5. I could see taking her at 3-1, 4-1. She's not going to get that high. I don't want her at a short number.
In that last dirt race, she did finish ahead of a next out stakes placed runner on dirt at Delta Downs in the Take Charge Brandy Stakes, earning a 64 buyer. I'm not sure I want to take a short price. I want to see this horse prove it to me on dirt. The 2 is Parade of Roses, a daughter of Breeders' Cup Juvenile winner New Year's Day. The dam was a multiple stakes winner on a synthetic surface, and Parade of Roses beat 3 of these common foes last time out in a sprint stake at Sunland last time out. Now, she has tried 2 turns in the past without much success, and I'm beginning to wonder if maybe she's at her best as a late running sprinter.
I was going to say probably at that 6.5 sort of distance, staying there with those horses at Sunland, stretching out to 2 turns. Admittedly, she's only done it 1 time, but it was a bit of a flop that day. And I know she wasn't bet heavily, but it's still one of those things where I don't know that this is her distance. And again, kind of what I said at the top with some of the lightly raced horses, she's gone out 8 times. She's got a career best fig of 65. To me, there's a chance that these more lightly raced horses, whether they've gone out once or twice, I think they have plenty of room for improvement, and I don't know how much there is for Parade of Roses.
KP Slickum is a daughter of Include. The dam was a stakes-winning dirt sprinter. She has already foaled the Grade 3 place dirt sprinter Queen Tuta and a multiple stakes-winning turf horse named Queen Caroline, who could go middle distances. KP Slickum is yet to finish first. The lone win came while placed via disqualification, but I thought she ran okay last time out in the Borderplex Stakes. She had a little bit of trouble in that race. I'm not going to give up on her just yet.
No, I guess of the horses coming out of that race, maybe she's the one that I'm most intrigued with. But again, admittedly, not thrilled with her overall. 5-1, that seemed a little bit on the light side to me. But from a time form standpoint and even a buyer standpoint, she's not that far off from a number that's respectable.
Let's throw up the time form U.S. pace projector for this race. I want to talk about a couple of stretch out sprinters that are listed 2nd and 3rd on the pace projector. This, of course, being after the first half mile. That's where our friends at Timeform US believe these horses will be. The 8 Detatway, second off the layoff, ran in the Borderplex. I thought she ran okay that day. I didn't like the conservative tactics the rider used. I think she is better when her speed is used, and I think she is going to be sitting second early, but there is a question about quality and distance.
Yeah, quality through 4 lifetime starts. She's lived between 50 and 59, but I look at it and say second off the bench with that outside draw. I think there's really only one way for this rider to go. You got to be a little bit more aggressive than you were in that most recent run. Get up there. Maybe you don't get into a duel, but I think you do push the filly down breaking from the rail and at least put yourself in a position where, look, maybe if that filly can't stand up to that sort of hike in class, maybe you're the one that takes up the catbird seat. But I agree with you. You got to be a little bit more aggressive.
Conversely, the number 7 figure may have been too aggressive last time out in the Borderplex, dueling on the lead before paying the price. It's worth noting that the maiden win 2 starts back at Sunland came when she was able to sit off the pace, and I think those are the tactics that she's going to use on Sunday. She is a half-sister to Ben's Duchess, a graded stakes winner sprinting.
Yeah, the tough thing for me with this filly, I look at her and I see that she's been beaten by a number of these common foes in that most recent run as well as in the career debut, and it just makes me wonder a little bit, is she quite as good as some of these girls?
Let's take a look at our top picks for the Island Fashion Stakes. We're getting big prices on the morning line. We're not expecting those prices come post time, but they still should be playable. Tell us about the 3, Victim of Love, who has finished first in her last 2 races and just destroyed maidens at 1 to 5 last time out.
Yeah, I feel like I just keep echoing the same thing, but I'm not sold on the horses that we've seen a little bit more. I think some of these girls are exposed at this point, as opposed to a horse like Victim of Love or even the horse down the inside, Jamaican Sense, who you'll talk about. Victim of Love, I just look at it from a numbers standpoint. The 70 Buyer most recently, the 87 raw time form rating, both of those definitely make her a major player. But more importantly, each of these 2 races where she crossed the wire first, keep in mind she was DQ'd 2 starts back, they both came going 2 turns, and that to me is a major piece. I know she won by the length of the stretch in that most recent run, and the other fillies haven't come back necessarily to flatter it. For what it's worth, the runner-up earned a 48 in her next start. I guess if you'd want to just sort of project, that probably stacks up pretty well in a race like this against some of these other girls. So I don't believe for a second I'm getting 12 to 1. I think 4 to 1 is fair on a horse like this. She's got some tactical ability. I went 3-1 in here.
She's arguably the best bred horse in a race full of wonderfully bred fillies. She is a foal to Benner Island, who I think won the 8 Bells at Churchill Downs. She's a half to High North, a multiple stakes winning rider. The Dam was a graded stakes winner going a mile on the dirt. This filly's got a ton of pedigree, and I was a little bit upset watching that last race, saying, boy, she got a perfect trip against those inferior horses, and she's supposed to win by 12 lengths at 1 to 5. But I have a feeling she's the kind of filly that can get those trips, that has the tactical speed to can work out a good trip. I picked her second in here behind the number 1 Jamaican Sense, who's a daughter of Golden Sense. The Dam was grade 1 placed, I believe, in the Madison over the old synthetic track at Keeneland, but she was also graded stakes placed on dirt. Jamaican Sense made her debut going 6, and she pressed the pace from the start with a horse that was more experienced than she was, and Jamaican Sense just kind of shrugged that horse off late. She draws inside. We saw the Timeform US Pace Projector has her pretty much out there on the lead by herself, and I'm hoping that she can successfully stretch out from 6 to a mile. Golden Sense, as we know, was a crack miler. Now she's 15 to 1 on the morning line, and I don't think we're going to get that at all. I would take 5 or 6 on her, but you like Victim of Love, I like Jamaican Sense. I'm using both in multis. I'm going 1, 3, 2, and 4. Give me numbers.
Yeah, I went 3, 1, 6, and 5. My only concern with Jamaican Sense, it's not the ability, it's not anything like that. It's if someone else is all of a sudden very aggressive and pushes her, and again, stretching out a quarter of a mile, it is one of those things. Until they do it, I think she should be able to handle it. I like the way she finished. Until they do it, you never know, but I do think she is one of the most likely winners. 3-1 are the big ones for me.
Fair point to be sure. The Island Fashion Stakes, one of the co-features at Sunland Park on Mind That Derby Sunday, has an approximate post time of 3:52 Mountain, but you're going to want to make sure to bet this race before 3:52 Mountain with DRF bets. You get to double your action. You bet 100, you get 100. Ready, set, bet. Best of luck in the Island Fashion.